ice in our hot tropical weather and had blocks of ice hauled from frozen lakes in America all the way here to Singapore. Unfortunately, this ice venture failed because expenses were simply too high. But much respect to the imaginative Mr. Hu for his daring attempt to keep Singaporeans cool. Today, Singaporeans keep cool by sipping drinks al fresco by the river. As you can see, Clarke Quay has been transformed into a different but no less bustling port of call. Everyone flocks here for food, fun, and riverside festivals. You may notice another bridge here. This one's called Reef Bridge, and it would seem yet another symbol of bringing people together. From the 1940s to the 1960s, this bridge was a popular place for storytellers to gather and jianggu, or shuoshu, which means talking about the past or talking about books. Street hawkers, warehouse workers, and others from the largely Teochew Chinese community would gather here nightly to be entertained. The storyteller would start by talking about the day's news, then continue with riveting classic tales from ancient China. Each episode would last the duration of a burning joss stick, and the audience would pay just 1 cent in the 1940s and just 5 cents in the 1960s. Chinese wayang, or opera, was another popular form of entertainment back then, and there were 2 Teochew opera theaters here. In the 1950s, admission to watch an entire performance was just 50 cents, but the common practice was to only pay 5 or 10 cents just to catch the last 10 minutes, which was the most exciting part of the show. Some might say this opportunistic spirit of frugalness endures amongst the most cunning of Singaporean businessmen till today. During festivals and religious events, the opera performances would be staged outdoors for all to enjoy free of charge. The area to your right used to be the site of Riverside Village, a plague-infested squatters' colony which housed the seedy underbelly of opium dens, brothels, and secret societies. Addicts, ladies of the night, and gangsters jostled for space in this once dangerous, mysterious place. But today, the building Riverside Point sits on the historical foundations of that notorious village. No longer dangerous and seedy, but a delightful waterfront dining oasis that boasts its very own microbrewery. Perhaps you'd like to return by foot to explore all these fun possibilities. Did you know that the paths along the Singapore River make up one continuous looping promenade that connects everything you see along the riverbanks? Take a leisurely stroll and soak in the atmosphere along the 6-kilometer promenade that flanks both sides of the river. As you take in the sights and sounds, you'll be comfortably shaded by lush greenery and definitely tempted by the many shops and cafes along the way. Look across the river and up to your left. See the lush green hill and the large tower overlooking Clarke Quay and the river? That is Fort Canning Hill, where Raffles built his own bungalow, Singapore's first government house. He also planted a spice garden, Singapore's first experimental botanic garden, to cultivate commercially imported spices. The hill was later used by the British as an arms store, barracks, and hospital, which probably led to its final name, Fort Canning. But way before the British arrived on our shores, Fort Canning was the place where ancient Malayan royalty once lived and was laid to rest. It was considered so sacred that it was known as forbidden ground, forbidden because commoners were not allowed to visit. Of course, all that has changed, and now you're most welcome to visit Fort Canning to see the old British underground bunkers, and if you're really brave-hearted, explore the ancient greenstones that still remain on its shady slopes. Now here's a building that just begs for attention. See the one adorned with colorful windows on the left? Home to the Ministry of Information, Communications and Arts, its multi-hued facade not only reflects Singapore's multicultural heritage, but also hints at the building's equally colorful past. Can you believe that this rainbow splash complex used to be the old Hill Street police station and was once considered a skyscraper? That was before World War II.
哦，沟通弹跳嘞。
Hill Street police station served as Singapore's earliest secure jail. During World War II, it's even believed to have been a torture chamber. With such a vivid history, it's certainly no wonder the building was named a national monument in 1998. On the right is Boat Quay and its stretch of colorful, quaint shop houses. It was completed in 1842 and is Singapore's very first quay. At its peak in the 1860s, Boat Quay handled 3/4 of Singapore's total shipping business. The sheltered riverbanks made excellent loading and unloading places. Back then, the whole river was chock-a-block with thousands of boats transporting a whole myriad of goods to be traded by the merchants who had set up shop in that row of buildings on the bank. Some of those goods included seafood, spices, and rubber. The precious cargo was shouldered across gangplanks by immigrant laborers known as coolies, whose blood, sweat, and tears formed the very backbone of our nation's rise to prosperity. Wonder why all the shop houses are concentrated on just one embankment of Boat Quay? Well, legend has it that the Chinese immigrants chose to set up home only on the south bank of the river. You'll notice how the riverbank curves just like the belly of a cock. In Chinese culture, this majestic fish is an auspicious symbol of good fortune and a great place to store wealth. These first immigrants believed that this part of the Singapore River was where prosperity and wealth could be found. That's also why many banks and businesses started up here and eventually developed this area into our current central business district. Where once boats lined the water's edge, today the banks of Boat Quay are lined with shop houses turned into restaurants and pubs. The facades of the Boat Quay shop houses have been retained, and their unique architectural styles give the district a distinct flavor. Notice how the shop houses are of varying heights? Long ago, this signaled the owner's wealth. In other words, the higher the building, the wealthier the owner. Perhaps these traditional beliefs have extended till today. Just take a look at the tall skyscrapers of Singapore's financial district towering over the Boat Quay shop houses. This is the perfect place for snapping pictures, so enjoy the 360-degree views and drink in Boat Quay's unique blend of traditional Asian values set against a modern and progressive backdrop. See how the shop houses form a charming contrast to Singapore's developing years against the skyline of a new Singapore. This truly is a uniquely Singapore sight. By the way, are you feeling hungry? Orphans and their push carts used to line the riverbanks, selling local dishes that were cheap and delicious. A bowl of Teochew porridge cost only 10 cents. And better yet, side dishes were free of charge. Every day, the people who worked and lived at the river would eat at these push carts, sitting on little stools along the river banks. Perhaps that was how alfresco dining got its start in Singapore. Directly ahead is Cavanagh Bridge, completed in 1869 and named after Colonel Sir William Arthur Cavanagh, Singapore's last governor. It's Singapore's only suspension bridge to have retained its intricate original form. It was manufactured in Scotland and shipped to Singapore later to be assembled. Unfortunately, the bridge was built too low and boats had to wait for low tide before they could pass. So look out and don't forget to duck as it curls under the bridge. Just kidding. Coming up on the other side of Cavanagh Bridge, you'll see a group of little boys jumping into the river. Don't worry about jumping in to save them. They're actually incredibly lifelike water sculptures showing scenes of the past when children would stand and wave cheekily from the houses. Very often they would take off all their clothes and jump in for a cool afternoon swim. Standing tall and majestic is the exclusive Fullerton Hotel, which blends the elegance of old world charm with every modern convenience. Built in 1928, lots of paper pushing went on behind the hotel's splendid columns before its glamorous makeover. Its facade is a masterpiece of neoclassical grandeur, which belies its much stuffier original occupants, the Chamber of Commerce offices and the General Post Office, from which mail was transported along the Singapore River to and from ships. Since the 1950s, this was also the site of many political campaign rallies, but even longer before that, it was occupied by Fort Fullerton, built to defend the town at the mouth of the Singapore River. This promontory to your right used to be home to the merlion, Singapore's top lion, top-fish island. The merlion stood guard here at the river mouth for 30 years before it was hauled by barge to its new home in 2002. As we make our way out into Marina Bay, you'll be able to see the merlion for yourself and hear more about its story.
太满不好，
因为太重。
是，我觉得太多人不好。
太挤了，然后如果超多人的话，船太重。
喜欢跟妈妈是搭船，搭个小船。
不会唱歌，找扩乐器。
买个卵啊！
就是要认真想。
买个卵啊！用 F 用，那个网页。
As promised, up next is Merlion Park, home of the original Merlion statue. To understand our unique national emblem with the lion head and fish body resting on a crest of waves, here's a quick history lesson. Singapore was originally known as the ancient city of Temasek, which means sea town in Javanese. But according to legend recorded in the Malay annals, Prince Sang Nila Utama renamed it Singapura, meaning lion city in Sanskrit, after he spotted a lion on its shores. The lion's head represents the lion spotted by the legendary Sang Nila Utama, while its fishtail symbolizes Temasek and Singapore's humble beginnings as a fishing village. Measuring 8.6 meters high and weighing 70 tons, the Malay